Hello, I'm Joe. Welcome to my channel, AGTV for Life. And before we jump into this video, I want to bring your attention to my friend Karen's YouTube channel and ask you to check it out if you haven't and support her. She would truly appreciate it. She has some really great content out there. It's not all American Girl dolls. She has doll houses that are at different scales, and she pays attention to the detail and everything that she does. It's absolutely amazing. I have so much fun watching her videos. I enjoy them immensely, and I think you will too. So if you could give her a little love, subscribe to her channel, I would truly appreciate it. Now let's dive into this video. I have to be honest with you, I have a confession to make. I do. I have an Instagram account, and if you follow me there, thank you. If you don't follow me on Instagram, my account is the same handle as my YouTube channel, AGTV for Life, so feel free to check it out. Okay, back to the confession, and the reason why I even mention Instagram. On Instagram, I see all these dolls dressed in trendy clothes with these cute furry boots like the ones Reba's wearing here in the confession picture. And I just love them. And I love how these creators dress their dolls. And they're just so flippin' cute. Just look at all these boots. They are so nice. I think the boots in the lower right corner are AG boots that go with a jacket or something, but I don't care. They seem to fit into the whole theme here. So I included them in this collage. Oh, by the way, some of these pictures appear to be boots, and some of them are little pieces of fur wrapped around the doll's legs. Either way, they are stinking adorable. Now that I had the boot bug, I decided to figure out where I could buy these boots. I went to Etsy and I typed in fuzzy boots for 18-inch dolls in the search bar, and I couldn't find what I was looking for. A lot of boots came up with fringes on them and other types of boots, but it definitely did not look like the ones that I wanted. So at that point, I sat back and I thought, what the heck can I do? Should I make them? How would I make them? Where would I get this faux fur? And where would I start? I obviously had a lot of questions. I wasn't sure how to even start this type of project. And I just put that idea on the shelf. It just seemed overwhelming to me because I would need a boot pattern and I couldn't find a pattern on Etsy that would match what I was looking for. I didn't know where to get the faux fur, and I just let that idea sit in the back of my mind. Then one day I was in a discount store by my house and I'm walking around and checking everything out, and look at what I found. These little fuzzy ball keychains, and a bell went off in my head. So I bought several of these keychains and came home and decided that I would tackle this project. Now that I had these keychains that inspired me, although I had to figure out how I would get the fur off the keychain without damaging it, that was a separate project. We'll talk about that in a second. I needed a pattern. I had to figure out where I would get a pattern. I checked Etsy and I could not find the type of pattern I was looking for. Then I went to my Cricut Makers library and I searched for images of boots, and I found an image that I knew would work with some alterations. And that's what you're looking at right now. These are garden boots and soles to the garden boots. I took these images out of the Cricut library and put them on my canvas, altered them a little bit, and this is what I got. So now I had my pattern and these puff balls, and I need a few more things. And while I was thinking of these other things that I needed, I came up with an idea unrelated to boots, and that's going to be a whole separate video. But I turned to my local Buy Nothing Project Facebook group. People give away stuff for free, and if you're interested in something specific like me, you can put a post out there and see who responds to it. I was really fortunate and I got a lot of stuff. And I also got this white faux fur fuzzy stuff. So now I had the fur balls and I also had this white fuzzy fur, and I also have some other colors too. I made Reba's boots off camera since it was my first attempt, and they came out okay. They're not the best, but they're fine. let's just focus on these little fur balls. The one thing I had to do was take the hardware off the keychain and disassemble the ball and attempt not to mess up this piece of fabric. So this is what it looks like, and I'll tell you what I did in the event you find these is just reach down where the hardware is inside the keychain and snip that area. There should be a stitching in there, and then you won't screw up the fabric. So I did this for all of them. And then I got my pattern and I put it on top of the piece of fabric, and I used pins and I pinned the pattern to the fabric. Just because this was my first time and I really wanted them to come out as nice as possible, you could probably cut this without using the pins. Oh, one thing I forgot to tell you is that you're going to need 2 of the balls. If you happen to find these little fuzzy balls, you're going to need 2 of them to do 1 pair of boots. And this is what it looked like after I cut it out. I was on my way to making boots. Let me tell you, I got so excited. Although this faux fur sheds like crazy, so get ready to get covered in it if you decide to take on this project. This faux fur is so soft. Oh my goodness. It feels so good. The next thing I did is I went to my little sewing box and I found some thread that matched this color the best I could. The next step was to thread my needle, and God help you, because the holes on these needles are so small. So if your vision has sort of deteriorated through the years, go grab those reading glasses now. When I started sewing, I put the 2 toe areas together and then I just sewed up through the top of the boot there. And this is sort of what it will look like. It's really not that difficult to hand sew this. It was pretty easy and fast. Once I finish sewing the front 2 pieces together, this is what it will look like. Now we're going to work on the sole of the boot. I had this really thick foam board around the house, and I used this to make the sole of the boot. Now, I'll be honest with you, this was a little difficult because the sole that's in the pattern is a little bit bigger than I wanted, so I did have to trim it down. So if you decide to use my pattern, keep that in mind and keep checking for size when you are making these boots. And this is what it looks like once you have it positioned on the bottom of the boot. And the next step is just to sew it into the boot. And as you can see where my thumb is, the sole was a little bit bigger, and that's where I had to keep checking and trim it for size. In this picture, you can see the white sole at the bottom of the boot, and I'm almost done sewing the sole to the boot. And then once I do that, I'm going to sew up the back of the boot. And look at this. The first boot is done, and it is so flippin' cute. I know they're a little oversized, but wait till you see the final product on my doll. And here's the final product. Now I have some leather fringe that I got for free from someone in my town, and I tied that to the boots, and you can use ribbon or whatever you want. And I think they look absolutely adorable on my 54. Look at her. I made a total of 8 pairs of these boots, and I cut some corners along the way and figured out a couple of tricks. So let me tell you what I did. You can also glue the seams together. So let me just show you how I did that. And if you decide to glue it together and your fingers are sensitive, this is probably not something you want to do because you're going to feel the heat on your fingers, but just be careful and try to make sure you're just gluing the seams together and not your fingers. Put your fingers on the glue to seal it closed once it's cooled off a bit. And you can see what I'm doing here. So I waited. I didn't put my fingers on the hot glue right away. I waited a little bit. I blew on it. And when it cooled down a little bit, I sealed it really hard with my fingers. So we'll do it a couple more times so you can see how I did it. And look at that. Both sides are glued together. Now we need to trim the excess glue off. Now we're ready to turn the boot inside out, starting from the narrowest part of the boot, which is the top, and be really careful so you don't break everything that you sealed. And look at this. I like sewing better, but this is a good alternative to sewing. If you don't want to sew, you can't sew, you're not interested in sewing, this is the way to go. I would just be really careful when you're using these boots because I don't know the longevity of the glue because I just made them, obviously. And then trim along the top if you see that it's not even or you have excess fur, and fluff them out. One other thing I need to share with you is that some of the boots I put soles on the boots and some of them I didn't because I realized not all the boots really need soles on them. And as you can see, these boots do not have soles on them. The good thing about this is that you can have shoes on your doll and then slip these boots over the shoes. So that's an option right there. Or you can sew or glue the soles on the boots. I have several pair that do not have soles on them, and the lighter pair of boots here don't have soles, and the darker pair that I just showed you. And then the next thing I did is I put some ribbon and some leather fringe and other things just to jazz the boots up. And I don't secure the ribbon around the boots or the fringe because I imagine I'm going to want to switch it up depending on my doll's outfit. So just then keep that in mind if you decide to make these type of boots. And here they are. So cute. Before I show you all the pairs of boots I made on my dolls, I just want to show you one other thing. Here are my cream colored boots. Oh my God, this girl looks like she should be sticking her legs in stirrups or something. Anyway, what I was saying is that these are the cream colored boots, and there's a sewn in sole on one boot, and on the other boot I'm using an American Girl shoe. So I just wanted to show you both options. Obviously, to put a sole in the boot is a bit more effort on your part, or you can just use doll shoes, or they could go barefoot, whatever you want. It won't matter because nobody's going to see the bottom of your doll's boots. Now I was at the final stage of completing this video, and I just needed to get a group shot of all my girls with their boots on, and of course Milo has to be in the picture. He said, "Hey, I have fur, just don't cut it off and make any boots out of my fur. I'm getting out of here." And here are all the boots I made with these pretty girls. What do you think? Are you going to make any of these boots? I'm really curious to know if this tutorial was helpful to you and if you're going to make any of them. I understand this may not be your thing, and that's okay too. And here they are again with a black background, and I just wanted to share something with you because I just love it, and why not share it here? A couple of things. Number one, see the pink arrow on top of this girlie's head pointing down? That is my version of Tate McRae, and I made a post on Instagram of her and Vinny, and I want to share it with you. Of course, I can't include her song, Sports Car, because of copyright situations, but I do want to just show you my post on Instagram. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, I would love it if you do, because the content I put on Instagram is oftentimes different than what you see in these videos. And my handle on Instagram is AGTV4Life, so it's quite simple. It's the same exact handle as I use here on YouTube. Here is a download of the video that I put on Instagram without the music. The music makes it so much more fun, but here is Tate McRae dancing in the sports car with Vinny. Vinny's in heaven, of course. Look at him. Look at her. She's dancing her ass off here on this car. Oh my God, this was so fun. I made this video and another video at my local park this past weekend, and it was just the best, the best. Oh my God, look at her moves. Oh my goodness. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, I sure hope you give it a thumbs up and drop a comment below and let me know what you thought of this video and whether or not you follow me on Instagram. And if you don't, will you follow me there? And feel free to share anything you want with me. I'd love to hear back from you. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I sure hope you press that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that YouTube will let you know every time I post a new video. I typically post once a week on Sundays. And if you're watching this video on a Sunday, I am at the barn with my horses. I hope you're having a wonderful day and spend some time with your dolls and take care of yourself. Bye, everyone.